Feel my life and that invisible knife. And Blue Streak, take a peek. It's unique. It's Fundercast 945. Hey there, Tony Funderburk coming at you again. I hope it's nice and warm where you are, because man, is it a chilly August day here in the heartland of America. Hang on, I got my signals mixed up. No, it's a very hot day in August here in the middle of the heartland of America. But I'm going to be talking about some chilly weather that a guy named Mateo went through. Yeah, he had to walk through some shin-deep snow way back on a cold February night in 1996. And one thought kept echoing through the dark chambers of his mind as he did that. He was thinking, I can hear my heart, but I just can't feel my life. But even as those words were bouncing around in his head, he couldn't figure out what feel my life actually meant. Because it wasn't like he had no feelings. Of course he had feelings, lots of them. Passionately exasperating feelings, but feelings just the same. And after another mile or so of trudging through the snow, Mateo heard his own voice say, I can feel you cut, but I just can't see the knife. What? He nearly slipped and fell as he quickly turned around and looked behind him because, he thought he heard a voice, but there was no one there. But why would there be? The voice was clearly his own voice. After all, he'd lived long enough to recognize the sound of his own voice, thank you very much. But why would his own voice taunt him with talk about feeling the cut but not seeing the knife? And, this is just serious cloak and dagger stuff right there. So Mateo gathered up a small amount of logic his brain could muster in that moment, and he started to pray. That's always a good idea. He prayed, Dear God, would you just slip yourself inside of me now and show me what I'm meant to be? My heart feels like a dark, locked box. Would you please use the golden key of your word to unlock it and protect me from all this wizardry down here in this dark, fallen world? And then he added, even though right now I can't feel my life, I can feel your love. Mateo knew God's love was real, even though he'd never met him face to face. Faith. Yeah, that's what they call it. So he thought to himself, faith knows that whenever I'm alone, you still fill the empty space. And faith helps me know I never really have to reach for you, Lord, because you always seem to pull me through. And you do the things that I can't do, not even if I wanted to, and not even if I tried. As those words flooded into his mind, his doubts and worries started to fade away, like the dwindling snowflakes in the frigid night air. So he tapped into the source of his strength, and he sang, I have to believe you did everything for me. Because what I have to believe is the truth that sets me free. And then he said out loud, now I know why I couldn't feel my life, because I forgot my life is not my own. No, God spent more than the whole world could ever repay to buy my life. And I'm sure I don't deserve it, but now I'm just lighter than air. I'm soaring like a bird. Okay, there's a small glimpse into part of one night in the life of Mateo. And by the way, his name means a gift from God. And Mateo sprang to life just as I was writing about him. Yeah, I just decided to create him and his moment of angst to point to the song, Have to Believe. It's the first song in the Do Right collection. You've heard of the Do Right collection, no doubt, because you're familiar with how the whole collection is somewhat connected to a local Denver nighttime talk show host from way back, right? You know that story, right? Well, it doesn't matter if you do right now, because right now I'm just telling you how to get your own copy of the Do Right Songbook Journal. And why? Because one of the songs on there is Have to Believe, that I just kind of described how the song goes, what it's talking about in Mateo's story. But if that's not going to convince you, let's talk about something else, okay? The anchors and the weather and sports reporters and the investigative reporters and the editorialists who all talk a blue streak night after night. So the fact that they do kind of made it ironic when Theo felt something like the stroke of a paintbrush across his heart, because it wasn't the same feeling as a physical paintbrush stroke. It was more like what you might call a blue streak of cool light. I think that is what he called it. And it happened as he listened to a late-night local talk show host talk about something in the Bible. But the host didn't sound like a preacher. He sounded more like a reporter who related current events to verses in the Bible. And every time he pointed out another truth, it tore away another layer of darkness from Theo's eyes. The truth sort of pierced right into him like a needle in the hand of a skilled nurse. You know how that is? How they can, when they're taking blood, you don't even feel it sometimes if they're really good. Just no pain. Or so little pain that it doesn't even matter. Anyway, so night after night, Theo would tune in to that show, and night after night he'd hear more truth that he hadn't heard from churches and other religious organizations. Plus, the talk show host included hilarious entertainment by taking calls from people all around the country who disagreed with him. Theo noticed a pattern form. Many people from all around the country clearly despised the talk show host, and most of them could only express their contempt for him with insults and complaints. And they refused to believe that those were actually words in the Bible, even though he was reading them right out of the Bible, because, like me, they also hadn't heard those messages in church or from any Christians they knew. So Theo tuned into the show for months, and he couldn't find any points of contention or disagreement with the talk show host. And he also enjoyed how the host ended his shows with the phrase, "do right and risk the consequences." Then one day, after watching a particularly entertaining episode of the show, Theo's brain lit up with some lyrics. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, Theo is an excellent songwriter. So he wrote down the words, editing as he wrote because that's the best way, and he twiddled around with some chords and progressions as he ironed out the verses and the chorus on his keyboard. And I bet you can see why his first line was, "There's a blue streak like a paintbrush stroke through my heart." Right? You picked up on that whole connection, I'll betcha. And I bet you get this next line too. "It's a cool light and it tears the darkness apart." How about it, huh? The lyrics make a lot of sense since you read a little bit of the backstory. Can I get an amen? So any guesses on the next line? Okay, try these next two lines. "I'm so near it, though it pierces me, I don't fear it. Like a needle, the word sows into my spirit." I don't know about you, but that gave me goosebumps. Okay, maybe little Gosling bumps, but I really enjoy observing a maestro's mind at work. How about you? Okay, well, I've been talking up a blue streak about this story, so I'm not going to share the whole rest of the laborious and intense songwriting process with you, but you can rest assured Theo included the line, "do right and risk the consequences." And you know what you should do right now? You should get your own digital download of the Do Right Songbook Journal. And when you get your own copy, you'll get all the lyrics to all the songs, not just this Do Right song I just finished talking about, or the Have to Believe song I talked about just a little bit ago. And in this book, there are tons of pages where you can journal and take notes in church, or just doodle if you prefer. And you can download all the songs at zero extra charge from a secret, not secret, link in the book. All you got to do is just go to the Rhyme and Reason bookshop at TonyFunderburk.com. Go to TonyFunderburk.com and look either at the top of the page or the bottom of the page for the word bookshop, or look for any of that kind of stuff, and you will find that that's where the page is with all the books. Okay? Makes sense. All the books in the bookshop. All right. Thanks for tuning in. As always, it's an honor to have you there listening to my ramblings and my ravings and my rantings, but most of all to these flashes of light that I share with you about the rhyme and reason and power of God's love.